Hello, good afternoon. My name's George Laird and welcome to today's The Laird Report. On today's show, I would like to talk about Andy Maciver, who recently in the Herald wrote an article about the need for a second Scottish Independence Referendum. So what I'd like to do is to cover that, and if you like what I have to say on this matter, I'd like you to like, share and subscribe this video if you don't mind. Anyway, Andy Maciver says we can't sort out Scotland's problems until another final referendum. My reply to his suggestion was as follows. 1. The SNP don't honour agreements. That is a well-known fact. 2. The SNP will try and rig any future independence vote. They'll want to control the timing, they will want to control the message, and they will want to control the length of the campaign. My third point is that everybody knows that another referendum will not be final. And why is that? Well, it's because the SNP will lose. And we've already had a referendum in 2014 in which the matter was settled for a generation. Now, at the present moment, it's only 2022. That is not a generation. A fourth point I'd like to make is that the SNP, and in particularly Nicola Sturgeon, needs the idea of a referendum to win elections. Because what she does is con gullible people into thinking that Nirvana is just over the next hill. Well, Nirvana isn't over the next hill, and but she'll keep doing what she's doing because she knows that if she keeps marching the troops up the hill, she'll get her payday and her cult. They'll get their money, so they'll be quite happy until the next time that they need you to basically give them the vote. Giving the SNP your vote is a mistake, and that mistake can be seen in how the infrastructure of this country, both at a national level and a local level, is in a state of disrepair. The fifth point I would like to make is, and this is I suppose a controversial idea, is that closing down Holyrood and the Scottish Government solves all problems over Indyref 2. That seems pretty straightforward. If the Scottish Government is not going to work in the interests of the people of Scotland, then the whole thing should just be returned to Westminster. So, who is Andy Maciver? Well, Andy was the head of communications for the Scottish Conservatives between 2002 and 2007. Approximately 5 years. As well as that, he's known as a political commentator who regularly appears on TV, radio and in print. I've actually met him at the Gordon Brewer Big Debate radio show, which I used to regularly attend as a member of the audience. And myself, I was once a guest on Gordon Brewer's show in my own right, speaking on why Scotland should vote for Brexit. 1 million people in Scotland voted for Brexit. But the SNP would want to ignore these people and take Scotland back into the EU without a referendum on an issue of such national importance. It seems that issues of national importance don't really matter unless the SNP agree with them. So if it was an independent Scotland, there would be no referendum to rejoin the EU. The SNP really don't believe in democracy. They believe in dictatorship. So anyway, I think that Andy Maciver is wrong to believe that there should be a second Scottish independence referendum because it won't be final. This idea mimics the recent idea of the EU that the UK should have a second referendum on Brexit. On that issue, to be clear, the EU isn't a friend of the UK and wants us back as a cash cow, but also to have unfettered access to our fishing grounds, as well as impose their laws on UK citizens. We would lose money, we would lose sovereignty, so what do we get for our money rebuilding EU countries while our own country needs new infrastructure badly? It's not just new infrastructure that the UK needs, it also needs a new social contract so that people from working class backgrounds can regain social mobility. And that's something which the EU has fundamentally damaged in this country by their free movement policy. So, in thinking about this, about the second independence referendum, the only real benefit from Andy Maciver's idea on a second Scottish independent referendum is to give cover for Nicola Sturgeon to remain as leader of the Scottish National Party, and, given the dire strait of the opposition parties in Scotland, to allow her to remain as First Minister. The longer that SNP leader Nicola Sturgeon doesn't deliver an Independence 2 referendum, the less tenable her position as First Minister and leader of the SNP becomes. Time is Nicola Sturgeon's enemy on several fronts. Time will see her lose members. Time will see Alex Salmond's party, ALPA, emerge as the real voice of the Scottish independence movement. Everybody knows Nicola Sturgeon doesn't have a mandate for a second Scottish independence referendum, but in every election since she gained power, she's used Indyref 2 as a campaigning tool for elections. People aren't voting for Indyref 2 when they vote for the SNP. They're just not willing to give the opposition parties power for various reasons. The SNP were at the front of the anti-English hatred which filtered down to their foot soldiers, the cybernats. And you can see this if you look back into the archives of SNP conferences, where the SNP leadership would stand at the lectern and deliver basically just hate-filled rants about Westminster. Well, you can't get angry about a building. You can only get angry about decisions which are taken by the people in those buildings. And those SNP conferences fired up the cybernats. And that's why we have such hatred and vitriol in Scotland. Nicola Sturgeon condemns categorically the hatred and abuse online by individuals. That's her story, by the way. But what she doesn't take into account was the year-on-year at SNP conferences where she stood and basically built the anti-English hatred in Scotland. And that's what the SNP are all about. And that's what they're going to continually to be all about. Boris Johnson, who's our Prime Minister and the leader of Scotland, although Nicola Sturgeon would dispute that, but Boris is the leader of Scotland, and he always has been since he became Prime Minister. Nicola Sturgeon is just the leader of a devolved administration delivering certain services in Scotland. She's not the leader of Scotland, and she'll never be the leader of Scotland. Thank you for watching this edition of the Laird Report, and remember to like, share and subscribe. Thank you very much for your time, and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now.